Hello everyone, my name is Jiyuan. Today I'm going to present my capstone project to you. The name of my capstone project is Evaluating the ICMA Legislative Process and the Government's Professional Fellows Program. First, I'm going to introduce this organization to you. ICMA, the International City and County Management Association, is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that advances professional local government worldwide. The mission of this organization is to create excellence in local governments by developing and fostering professional management to build better communities. Because I'm only evaluate a specific program under ICMA International Center, I'm not going to talk about too much about this organization, while I also provide additional video introduction to this organization if you are interested in. The specific program I'm going to evaluate is the ICMA International Legislative Process and Governance Professional Fellows Program, which is funded by the U.S. State Department, Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs in 2010. Young emerging leaders from 10 East Asian and Pacific countries are going to participate in the program. The fellowships focus on both the themes of legislative processes and governance and environmental sustainability. Fellows will learn practical skills focusing on local government's role and responsibility in civic engagement, promoting transparency, while also fostering interaction with leaders from the federal, state, and local organizations. These fellows will spend 4 weeks working with the local government in the United States, in addition to a week and a half enrichment and debriefing program in Washington, D.C. In return, 10 U.S. fellows will travel for 2 weeks to deliver technical assistance and consultation in meaningful fellowships with local governments to help them engage citizens and civil society organizations in addressing community challenges to adapt quickly to create more resilient communities. The importance of this evaluation is that ICMA is always aiming at making its best efforts to meet the needs of their significant stakeholders. So it's very important to know whether they're providing services and activities match the needs and values of their significant stakeholders. The Legislative Process and Government's Professional Fellows Program is part of the Young Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative, which is U.S. President Barack Obama's signature program to strengthen leadership development and networking in Southeast Asia through a variety of programs and engagements, including U.S. educational and cultural exchange, regional exchanges, and seed funding. YSEALI seeks to build the leadership capabilities of youth in the region, strengthen ties between the United States and Southeast Asia, and nurture a Southeast Asian community. As for the literature review, because there were no previous scholars did program evaluation of these two programs before, and there were also no accessible public resources about the outcome and the effectiveness of these programs, I won't stay too much time on this part, and my literature review includes general history of program evaluation development, different categories of program evaluation, and the needs evaluation by POSAC and CARI. And next is the research question of my capstone project. Did the International City and County Management Association successfully accomplish the goals and objectives of the ICMA Professional Fellows Program conforming to the values of their stakeholders as they have defined them. Under my research design, I defined two significant stakeholders. One is YSEALI program, and another is the most important participants in the program, the professional fellows, Team ICMA Cohort 1. They were composed of 23 professional fellows from those 10 Southeast Pacific countries. I used qualitative methods to determine A. the values of the two sets of stakeholders, B. whether what the ICMA program offers through service and activities match the values and needs of stakeholders, and the last, should there be any improvements to be made to the service and activities according to the values of stakeholders. As for the data source, the study collected program information from the official website of YSE, ARI, and ICMA. To be specifically, ICMA has its own database, which is called Knowledge Network. From this database, public resources such as program standards, organizational strategic plan, and professional fellows blog were provided. Among all of these resources, professional fellows blogs were the most important resource for me. Also, program introduction, media reports about YSEALI activities will be collected from its official websites. The operational measures related to the idea in this evaluation are as follows. I will define the role of ICMA legislative process and governance professional fellows programs role according to YSEALI program and professional fellows perceptions, and I will also define values and needs of YSEALI program and professional fellows. After I define all of this, I will examine whether the service and activities provided by ICMA match up the values and needs of their stakeholders. According to the value and need of YSEALI program, ICMA is supposed to A. provide corresponding variety of programs and engagements for professional fellows, B. build the long-term ties between South Asia and the US, C. inspire change in creating responsive, open, and accountable governance. After comparison, I found that all the activities and service by ICMA were in concert with value and need of YSEALI program. However, ICMA only played the role in providing the U.S. local government practice opportunities. That means ICMA itself didn't provide those programs and activities. Without the collaboration of the U.S. local government, ICMA can't provide such variety of programs. As for the second matchup, building the long-term ties between South Asia and the US, records from both program introduction and professional fellows blogs show that the program was initially launched in 2011 and already lasts more than 5 years, which indicate that the program has been well maintained. With regard to the third matchup, I will discuss it later with the next part, professional fellows matchup. According to the value and need of professional fellows, ICMA is supposed to A. help them achieve their bringing challenges and tasks, and B. provide grants for them to realize their action plans, if possible. It was found that fellows attended a variety of activities in the U.S. local governments. Almost every fellow took participation in meetings, visited local government agencies and organizations such as police department and fire department. Some of the fellows took training courses at local government, and others joined the government staff daily work. And based on what I found from Appendix A, some fellows may not able to effectively complete their original challenges and tasks because their attended activities were not so closely related to their YSE-AOI program SIM. Instead, they did attend other non-SIM related activities and gain experience. But that cannot help them as practical evidence to write good action plans, not even to mention to get the grants. While some fellows they did so good job, they were more likely to achieve their challenges and tasks based on their meaningful training. In this part, I put YSE-AOI program matchup and professional fellows matchup B together because, in fact, the question that whether fellows' values and needs can be achieved and the question that whether ICMA can achieve the outcome are the same thing. So as for the outcomes, however, it's not so easy to be identified in a short period of time because they haven't shown any changes in their program actions, and we also cannot trace if they really achieve their action plans in such a short time. So further research should be done to follow up if those professional fellows are rewarded with the grants and they use these grants to achieve their action plans. Based on the analysis above, the overall quality of the outputs were excellent but not perfect. The quality was excellent because basically what ICMA provided for both YSE-AOI program and the professional fellows matched their values and needs. However, as what has been pointed out above, some fellows were provided with a variety of different activities, and these different activities were not related to their YSE-AOI SIM, which was not perfect. The conclusion of my capstone project is that the services and activities that ICMA program offered mostly matched the values and needs of stakeholders. However, several fellows, their attended activities were not so closely aligned to their YSE-AOI SIMs. So the final evaluation result is the International City and County Management Association accomplished the goals and objectives of the ICMA Professional Fellows Program in large part. It conformed to the values of their stakeholders as they had defined them, but the program wasn't a perfectly success. The limitations of my capstone project are as following. Firstly, publicly accessible resources are quite limited, as what has been pointed out in the literature review. Secondly, I didn't have permission to use professional fellows post-survey and host communities reports, which I think could help provide more important information for this study. Lastly, as what I mentioned before, the research we did in such a period of time, I cannot trace further information such as whether those fellows achieved their action plans after they were rewarded with grants from the government. I also provide recommendation for ICMA. The first one is that ICMA could customize the program activities and services for every fellow according to their YSE-AOI SIMs, needs, and values. The second one is that based on Appendix B, the completion of fellows' action plans, I found that only 9 of them submitted the action plans, and 3 of the submission fitted the request form of the action plan. So ICMA should improve the post-program tracking and supervision to avoid this frustrating consequence. And here are the references of my capstone project. Thank you for listening.